Hey, welcome to the CMO Whisper Show. I'm your host, Steve Olensky. Part marketing practitioner, part ad agency veteran, part journalist. I was a writer for Forbes for 10 years. I've had so many insightful conversations over the years with business leaders, to athletes, to celebrities, to, of course, CMOs. The only difference now is instead of sharing those insights through written form, I'm doing it this way. My guest this week is Dara Treseder, the Chief Marketing Officer at Autodesk, a leading technology and software company changing how the world is designed and made. She oversees the worldwide marketing, brand, communications, demand generation, e-commerce, and education business teams. As a veteran Chief Marketing Officer, Dara was the global head of marketing, comms, and membership at Peloton, CMO of Carbon, and a CMO of GE Business Innovations and GE Ventures. Earlier in her career, she led the marketing growth efforts at Apple and Goldman Sachs. She's been recognized by Forbes as the world's most influential CMO. Let me say that again. Recognized by Forbes as the world's most influential CMO, and was the first Black person to be inducted into the Forbes CMO Hall of Fame. She's a champion of public health, women's issues, and diversity and belonging. If that wasn't enough, she serves on the boards of the Public Health Institute and Robinhood. Finally, Dara graduated cum laude from Harvard with highest honors and holds an MBA from Stanford University. And last but not least, I am very proud to call her my friend. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Steve. So great to be on here with you.
You know, I was thinking back, I don't even remember. I think you were at Carbon when GE. You were at GE when we first met.
Yes, we met. So we've known each other for a while now.
I was at Forbes, you were at GE, and we probably passed each other in the digital hallways a million times. And look at us now.
Look at us now. Look at us now. Well, I love this podcast and I'm so excited to be on here with you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I know there's big news that we want to share that you recently, as we're recording this before, but by the time this comes out, Autodesk will have a major announcement for their first ever creative agency of record, correct? Tell us about that.
This is correct. This is actually, the first time in Autodesk's 40 plus year history that we have named a creative agency of record. And we're very excited about this. In my first 2 years as CMO at Autodesk, we really focused on telling stories that celebrate what our amazing customers are designing and making with Autodesk. We created some historic moments as a result, celebrating Autodesk's role, for example, in the restoration of the Notre Dame Cathedral last month. And we announced our role in designing and making the LA 28 games. And so we've taken so many incredible steps forward. And for us, 2025 is really the year where we want to start to showcase and tell more of what our customers are doing on a bigger scale, right? It's a big year for us. And so we realize that this is the right time for us to bring in that creative agency of record that can be a true partner to us across all of our spheres of influence.
That's a big leap of trust, if you will, right? To get aligned with a creative agency of record. I would imagine it was a pretty intense vetting process.
It was very intense and a lot of great contenders, right? I really enjoyed the process. I actually have to say the agency landscape is amazing. There are a lot of really great agencies out there. We got to meet many of them, and we got to know some of them really, really well through this process. And it was tough. It was certainly challenging to kind of come down to who we wanted to pick. But we're very excited about Giant Spoon, who we've ultimately selected. And the reason we're excited about Giant Spoon is because, they are a collaborator for us across three main things. First of all, they think big and act boldly. And that's really important to us. The second thing was we really wanted to have an agency that has a sound strategy that reaches the right people. And we wanted to make sure that we have an agency who can also help us with having a consistent message and voice across our global landscape. And we love Giant Spoon and their ability to do that. They've been able to do that with some great brands like GE, where, my alma mater, and some other amazing companies. And we were able to actually, through the pitch process, they were able to demonstrate their unique value that they could bring to Autodesk. And so we're really excited to be able to show up with them in surprising yet ownable spaces And we trust their ability to come side by side with us as we tell the right story to the right audience at the right moment.
Sounds so simple. but in a way, that's the point, right?
That's the point. Exactly. There's clarity in terms of our vision. There's clarity in terms of the collaboration. And so we're very excited. This is going to be, I think, it's a new day for us at Autodesk. And we're so excited to have Giant Spoon alongside us.
What's going to be among their first on the to-do list?
Well, I think one of the things that they're going to be focused on first and foremost is really immersing themselves in our business and in our customers. So for us, our marketing is really centered around understanding the customer, unlocking their potential, and then unveiling what's next for them. And so having that partner for us really walk alongside us those three steps, so immersing themselves in understanding our customers, what our customers are trying to do, learning the magic of Autodesk, right? We like to think of our software sort of like the magic behind the magic, and having making sure that we are able to unlock the potential and opportunity for our customers, and they can do that alongside us. And of course, unveiling what's next, helping our customers share and showcase the amazing, inspiring stories of how they're designing and making a better world. So that's step one for us, is that immersion process, because I think a lot of times when you have these creative agency partners, you're jumping without spending time in the immersion. So for us, it's first going to be immersion. And then, we're going to have some great stories to tell in 2025. So you got to watch this space.
I can hear it in your voice. I love the passion, right? But I can also hear how do I say this? The immersion takes time.
The immersion takes time.
You see the shiny new toy, and in this context, it's all those amazing stories that are come out, but you can't go from A to C without going to B first, kind of thing.
Exactly. You absolutely. And I think that's really important to us, is because whenever we tell a story, there's always a reason why we're telling that story, right? And many times we're telling story after doing the work. So one of the things that I love so much about Autodesk as a brand is authenticity is at the forefront of what we do. So we actually, many times we're telling a story after we have invested years in doing the work. We don't start telling the story before the work gets done. And so having a partner that really understands that and can come alongside us in that journey is key. And we're so excited because we know that Giant Spoon is absolutely that partner.
Was there any past work when they showed you their kind of demo reel, if you will, that, really made a difference of what they've done in the past?
Of course, Giant Spoon has done some incredible work over the years. I think some things that really stood out to us during the pitch process was, for example, some of the work they've done with GE. So they worked with GE on a once, now, forever campaign. And what I loved so much about this campaign was the short film opening day. It recreated the first ever baseball game held at night, thanks to GE's technology, which made that possible for the Major League Baseball. They even staged, synchronized drone shows over New York City and Bangalore that really was filled with nods to GE's history while feeling modern and relevant. For us, Autodesk is complex, right? We have over 100 software tools. We have our Dynamic platform, which serves customers across a variety of industries: architecture, construction, engineering, product design, manufacturing, media, entertainment. And so we knew that we needed an agency that could zoom into our core areas as quickly as they can zoom out to understand our collective story.
Wow. And just so I'm clear, that was part of the pitch, this whole nighttime baseball thing and drones. And
so they had done that work for GE, right? So looking at that as an example of something that they had done that was exciting for us to see what they could do with a B2B brand, right? And so they have that expertise of there are great stories to be found. Let's mine those great stories. Let's tell those great stories.
That's amazing. All right. I'm going to take a step back more holistically into the Autodesk brand. And it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it's going through an evolution. Fair?
It is absolutely going through an evolution. And, I'm really proud of the work that we've done together. It is truly an exciting time to be at Autodesk. It's an exciting time for our brand. In fact, we just recently received an award towards the end of last year where we were recognized by Fast Company as one of the brands that matter. And this was the first time Autodesk showed up on that list. And it was a huge, huge recognition of the great work we've been doing over the past few years. And so in terms of our brand story, you're going to see us continue to tell stories that celebrate what our customers have accomplished, right? We have been working on doing that, and that is going to continue to be at the forefront of our strategy. We're also going to be finding ways we can share more of what Autodesk is doing to help shape the future. So we're going to continue that storytelling, which is key for us. And of course, we have 3.5 years till the LA 28 games. So we have lots more to share about the role we're going to be playing in bringing the LA 28 games to life.
I just want to reiterate something for everybody listening to something you just said you said it in passing, but it's so impactful and it's worth repeating. You're telling the stories of what the customers are doing, not what the brand is doing.
No.
Massive.
We are all about making our customers the heroes. So every time you see a story we're telling, it's the story where the customer is at the center of it all. And I think that that's one of the things that makes this job so exciting and so wonderful is that the heroes are always our customers, right? We're sort of there. We're there, cheerleading them on. We're helping them. But at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's about our customers. And that is our strategy. And that is going to continue to be our strategy.
Talk about simple. And you're probably going, doesn't everybody do? Of course, we know they don't. That's why I wanted to repeat that. Listen up, marketers. It's not about you. It's about the customers.
Yeah. And I love that so much because again, coming back to the rallying cry for us, for our marketing organization, understand the customer, right? Unlock the potential and the opportunity and then unveil what's next. So that for us is the rallying cry. That's what we're focused on. And so making sure that the customer is at the heart of it, that's where the magic happens.
And there's a word that I guarantee is inherent in everything you're saying, and that's listen to your customers.
Yes, absolutely. You can't understand if you don't listen, right? You have to listen to understand. And I think that's really important. Listen to understand. Don't listen to explain. Don't listen to defend. Don't listen to sort of come up with your own narrative, but you listen to understand.
Where were you when my kids were younger? Because they could have learned. I have to listen to okay. Anyway, I digress.
Hey, we are all a work in progress. And that's certainly something that it's one of the, I've got these little things that I have that are around my in my home office. And one of the things that I have, and now even at work in my office, at HQ, I have, listen to understand. And I constantly remind myself because actually as humans, our go-to is to listen to explain, but actually our go-to needs to be listen to understand because the first thing we have to do is to understand. Any explanation without deep understanding is not an explanation. It's a defense. And so first we need to understand.
And to build on that, I have to just add to this because it's something I live by. There is a difference between listening and hearing.
Yes, absolutely. You can hear, but that doesn't mean you listen. And that does not mean you understood.
Correct.
You ever have a conversation with someone who's like playing on their phone and you're like, you didn't hear what I just said. And they repeat back to you what you just said, but you ask them a question they can't answer because they weren't actually listening. They heard, but they did not listen, and they certainly did not understand.
Offline, I'll tell you about a first and only date I had that went like that. But yes, no, it's true. Like it's so red flaggy, if you will. Like you're not hearing a word I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's so frustrating, and I'm sure you convey that to your team. The power of listening.
Yes, and that's I have to say the team. That's one thing. We have such a great team, and that everything we do starts from audience centricity. Let's start first from what do we understand about our customers? What do they need? Let's put them at the center.
Yeah,
then
exactly.
We'll go from there.
All right, I'm going to segue into, I used to call this the elephant in the room. I don't know if it's that anymore. It's probably like 10 elephants now, and that's AI.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. And rightly so. And it's funny sometimes, Dara, when I'll have someone on my show, sometimes I'll just do the word association. I'll go, I say AI, you say, and they just a million different answers because there's no wrong answer. Right. But for you, I want to just start at the high level of just AI from your years in marketing, what it's doing, how it's changing, what's going to happen. Keep it at a 30,000 foot level for now. What your thoughts on AI and marketing, then we can get a little more granular.
Absolutely. So first of all, what I want to say is, the reality is an AI-powered workforce is already here. AI is here to stay. This is not some future technology. This is not maybe this is going to work out. This is like mobile phone technology. It is like the internet. It is here to stay. And understanding how to utilize AI is already a must-have skill. In fact, at Autodesk, we do an annual State of Design and Make report where we survey all of these different industries where people are designing and making things. And nearly half of professionals in our industries told us that the top skill they're hiring for over the next 3 years is the ability to work with AI. So we're already seeing that AI is here to stay. It's an intricate part. It's an intricate reality of the workforce. But also at the same time, we're seeing that AI is experiencing the typical hype cycle, right? There's a typical hype cycle of any emerging technology. And we're seeing that AI is going through that as well. So when I think about 2025 and I think about this year, I think leaders are going to be taking a step back to ask, where are we currently using AI? Where do we need to invest more? Where do we need to invest less, right? Where do we need to divest from? What are the limitations of AI as we're implementing it today? Who needs to be trained to be able to work with this technology? So if I had to summarize, 2025 is going to be about precision with AI. It's going to be about precision. We've kind of had the year where everyone's figuring out what it is. I would say last year was very much the year of like testing and experimentation. And I think this year is going to be about precision. It's going to be about utilizing it in the right place at the right time in the right way.
It'll be really interesting because we're recording this early January. Look at this at the end of the year, because I happen to agree. And you're saying precision. I'm thinking of words like refinement or granularity. We're saying the same thing. Absolutely.
Let's get more specific with it. Let's start to see the ROI on it. Let's start to understand its role in our agenda, right? In advertising and marketing. One thing I will also say is that trust in AI is actually high, which sometimes just from reading the news, that might not come across. But I'm talking now about specifically in our world of advertising and marketing. Our State of Design and Make report found that nearly half of advertising professionals say they are already using AI to increase productivity. And 1 in 3 advertising professionals are saying AI is ubiquitous. So this is something, there is already that trust, there is already that familiarity. And so for 2025, it's going to be about getting more precise, getting more refined, and starting to really utilize this in a way that delivers the most value.
So you mentioned advertising, and it's a good segue into get your thoughts on what Coke did last year, right? With those AI generated ads.
Yep.
First of all, what did you think of it as a marketer versus a consumer? And then do you ever see you and your agency doing anything AI generated when it comes to advertising?
So it was interesting. What I would say is I found it interesting, and what I think I found most interesting about it was it sparked a conversation. It sparked a conversation that we need to have as marketers and as a society about how do we want to work with AI, right? Because on one hand, they showed us how a big brand, Coca-Cola is one of those brands. It is known everywhere in the world. I just got back from, being in Lagos, Nigeria. If you go, and random person in Lagos knows what Coca-Cola is, right? And here I am in Silicon Valley, people know what Coca-Cola is. So it's one of those brands that is a big global brand. So they showed how a big global brand can move fast with AI to make ads that were more personalized. And so, you got to give them some kudos for that, right? Someone had to be the first. They were the first in doing it that way. On the other hand, right, the ads reminded us that emotional resonance, authenticity, true creativity, human centricity matters a great deal in storytelling. And so I think that one of my big takeaways was we need to be thoughtful about how we can responsibly and effectively use AI to enhance, not replace, the magic of human creativity. We have to navigate those murky waters in order to find the refinement when it comes to AI adoption in marketing. Because I think when we replace, we actually miss out on the opportunity that is truly in front of us. I think the opportunity is around enhancement, not around replacement.
Fascinating what you just said. And one of the words that popped into my head as you were saying this was ethics.
Yeah.
And right now, as we're recording this and for the foreseeable future, it's still a bit of a Wild West, right?
It is a Wild West. Absolutely.
Which is frightening, right? As we see deep fakes and other things being done, you literally can't tell what's real and what's not. First question about that is, do you envision either the US or the world at large in enacting some sort of protocols and standards at some point when it comes to AI in marketing and advertising?
It will be interesting to see what happens. We obviously in the US are entering a new era in terms of, we're having, different leaders coming in.
Yep.
And so it'll be interesting to see how these new leaders approach AI, approach regulation for this technology or the lack thereof. So I think it's too early to say what is the US going to do. I think what we are certainly seeing in Europe, and I had the privilege actually in December of spending time at the Élysée Palace in France talking about AI and specifically no AI without women. And in Europe, there's certainly a lot of emphasis on how do we use AI responsibly. There are, government bodies that are really looking into this. In fact, Autodesk, we actually signed one of the voluntary pacts around AI utilization in EU. So I think it's early. It's still the early days. But what I can say is that with confidence is that when we focus on enhancement, not replacement, this is where I think the magic really lies. And so I think as customers, as marketers, as technologists, we need to be thinking about how this helps us as humans be better, live better, perform better, be a better society. But we cannot shut our eyes to the dark side, right? With every technology, the technology in itself is not inherently good or bad. It's about how it's utilized. And so we have to realize that any tool, right? Social media, there's good aspects of it, there's bad aspects of it, right? The internet, there's good aspects of it, there's bad aspects of it. The same thing with AI, there's good aspects of it, there's bad aspects of it. So we as a society have to be wide-eyed about the negative impacts, and we need to make sure that we are doing everything we can to reduce those negative externalities.
Completely agree. The only thing I would add to that is when you mentioned internet and social media, there are rules and regs right now that are not for it. That's what scares me.
Yes.
So I'll just leave it at that.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the things that, I think, at Autodesk, we've talked about the importance of having, some regulation. We've talked about the importance of having some guardrails, right? All of us need guardrails. Guardrails are a good thing. Boundaries are a good thing.
Yeah.
It allows society to function. You wouldn't like a house where there were no boundaries and your neighbors could just walk right into your property, right? We all like boundaries. We all like guardrails, right? It protects us. It keeps us safe. It allows us to function and interact well with each other. And I think the same thing about the utilization of AI. We are going to need some guardrails. We are going to need some boundaries. So I think it'll be interesting. We're all going to be watching, right? As our new government comes into power, what is their approach to thinking about guardrails when it comes to AI?
Yeah. And then on a global scale as well.
Exactly. On a global scale. And by the way, many governments are going through this shift, right? There were so many elections that happened in 2024. So we are seeing a lot of new administrations around the world. And so seeing how all these new administrations, what they choose to do or not do, I think is going to set the tone for how AI ultimately gets implemented and utilized on a mass scale.
And then the next breath is what it means for future generations.
Absolutely. The next generation is not going to know a world without AI.
Right.
It was funny. I was working with my daughter and she's She loves fashion and she's been designing all these clothes and doing a great job at it, I might add. And, she was trying to name her new brand that she's trying to come up with. And her first thing was like, let's go to Chat GPT and see what it has to say. You know what I mean? Like, who would have thought? Like, so it's just, they are already thinking, Gen Z and Gen Alpha are the most tech savvy generations. And they're going to be entering the workplace with these tech skills. Yeah. And so it's going to be really important that we in the workplace are ready for them and that we show them how they can connect their skills to solving the problems that need to be solved. Because right now, that's a little bit of what's happening is there's a gap. There's a gap between, the skills needed in the workplace and what is happening as people are graduating. And we need to bridge that skills gap. And that's, by the way, part of why at Autodesk, we offer our software for free to students and educators all around the world across more than 160,000 institutions. We're really committed to preparing that next generation to enter careers in design and make industries, which, by the way, represents 300 million employees globally. And that's only growing. So there's going to be a continued need for skilled folks who understand how to utilize technology, including AI.
I'm reminded, I just thought of this sitting here talking to you about a line, I think it was from the movie Spider-Man, the line where it says like, with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely. And that is so true. And so for us, it's like this new technology, it's here to stay. How do we make sure we utilize it responsibly? How do we make sure the next generation, we are equipping them with how to utilize it, but also giving them that sense of responsibility and that we have the right guardrails, the right boundaries to make sure that as a society, we are net better off, right? We are better off having this as a part of our daily lives. Without question. And I know you and I are like in that this is our legacy. Yes, absolutely. And what are we going to do about it? What are we going to leave for the next generation? I have a 9-year-old and a 7-year-old. I'm constantly thinking about what are the things that we're doing that makes the world better for them? And how do we do more of that? Yeah, exactly. All right. I'm looking at the time. We got about 5-7 minutes or so left. We're going to have some fun. Not that the other one wasn't fun, but I instituted this new kind of part of my show, Dara, since I don't think it's like you and I talk, but it's called the Random 5. And I'm going to ask you 5 random questions. All right. They're all fun. And here we go. You ready? I'm ready. Let's do it. What superpower do you wish you had? Invisibility. Okay. Care to elaborate or just? Yes. I wish I could just make myself invisible because then you could go anywhere you want to go. You could be in any room you want to be in. You could hear any conversation you want to hear. You could be a part of, any experience you want to be, you want to experience without anyone else knowing that you're there. And I think you can do a lot of good with invisibility. So I think in some of those spaces where you're like, I wonder why did they do that? You could be there. How many times people have been like, I wish I could be a fly. I don't want to be a fly. I want to be me, but I'm invisible and you don't even know I'm there. Yeah, because you can still see a fly. Exactly. You can still see a fly. You could swat a fly. I don't want to be a fly on a wall. I just want to be me hanging out there without you knowing I'm there. So invisibility. All right. I love that. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, living or dead, who is it and why? Wow. It'd probably be Harriet Tubman. She is such an influential leader in American history. I think a lot of people do not understand what it means to have been someone who was enslaved, escaped slavery, and then went back to get other people. Think about that. And not once, not twice. And so just because I think so many times we can all focus on ourselves and our immediate families. And she was putting her life at risk for other people. And many times in today's world, we are asked to be courageous the stakes are so much less and we don't even want to do it. And so to just kind of have a conversation with her, to just learn from her about courage, about forgiveness, about, empathy, about true leadership. I love her so much and I'm so inspired by her. And so to sit down and have a conversation with her would be incredible. Okay. I think I know the answer to this one based on having a 7 and 9-year-old. But what's your morning routine look like? Well, I get up early. I'm one of those early risers. I get up by 4:30 a.m. I'm leaving my house because I work out at 5 a.m. I'm part of the 5 a.m. club. So I get up, I get my workout in. I have my spiritual practice where I pray, I read my Bible, I kind of prep for the day. So, and I start my day early. So I kind of I love those early morning hours because it's time to kind of get, and, my kids are usually up around 7. They get up anywhere between like 6:45 and 7. By that time, I'm back. I've had my workouts been done. My spiritual practice has been done. And I'm ready to give them some hugs and some cuddles and help them get ready for the day and all of that. So that's usually what my morning is. And then, of course, meetings start, right? I'm heading into the office and going into a meeting in the office, or I'm traveling, or I'm heading, I'm jumping on a call, right? The work day starts.
Okay. Next, is there a book, movie, or song that has deeply influenced you?
Wow. So definitely all the above. But I would say if I had to pick a book that has been a deep influence on me, it would probably be Man's Search for Meaning. It's been I remember reading that book, and it just had such a deep impact on my life in terms of how I see the world, how I think about the world. So that would probably be the thing that I think has influenced me a lot. And also, I would also probably say the Bible. I read it a lot. It's one of my favorite books, and it certainly impacts how I live my life. And I try to, follow a lot of the lessons around love, around forgiveness, around grace, around, just being a good neighbor, a good citizen.
I got it. Last, who's been the most influential person in your life, and what did you learn from them?
The most influential person in my life has probably been my parents. They have both been just absolute forces in my life and have shaped very much of the woman that I am. And I think one of the things that I learned from my parents, actually something it's the North Star for my life, but it was something my mom used to tell me all the time when I was growing up. And at the time I didn't know what it meant, but now I know exactly what it means. And she would always say to me, Dara, ambition with contentment. Ambition with contentment. Because right from when I was little, I always had my eyes set on the stars. I always was a little girl in little Ibadan in Nigeria, but I still was like, I'm going to do something big. I had this big dream. I had this big vision. And many times people would be like, just go sit down somewhere. But my mom was always encouraging. My mom and my dad, God bless them. They were always encouraging me to dream big. They were always encouraging me, always supporting me, but they never let me forget who I am. And they always reminded me of that ambition with contentment. And another thing my mother used to tell me a lot is character is beauty. Character is beauty. She used to say it in Iwalewa, which means character is beauty. And so I think those two things have been guiding forces in my life and things that I really hold on to.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm going to go on a limb and imagine you teach and preach the same things to your children.
Absolutely. I share both of those things. I share that with them all the time, in addition to other things that my husband and I try to make sure that they think about, right? So that, hopefully as they grow up, they can grow up to be productive members of society as well.
Well, listen, my friend, first of all, it's way too long since we talked last. So we can't let that happen again.
We cannot.
Thank you for your time. You are such an inspiration to so many, whether you know it or not. I will tell you that. I love following you on Instagram. I do see you at 5 a.m. and I go, darn, I got to get up too. And I got to get
Well, you just have to do what works for you. It's like, if I don't do the workout at 5 a.m., it's not going to happen. And it needs to happen. But we just got to get it done at 5 a.m.
I know. See, and I live alone, so it's easier for me to make excuses. So, but you are inspiring on many levels.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm so blessed you're in my life. Thank you again.
Oh, well, I'm blessed you're in my life too. Thank you so much. This has been so fun to just talk about all the things. And I wish both of us and everyone listening to us a wonderful 2025 and a successful year.
Amen. Well, that wraps up another episode of the CMO Whisperer Show. I hope you shared this episode with your friends. And if you have not already, please subscribe to be kept up to date on all the latest episodes. And if you're so inclined, leave me a review on your favorite podcast platform. Thank you.